Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the ton. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi touch from Middle-earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her unapologetically audacious era.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and deep diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
Dearest listeners, the Tangent Queens today expound on the news streaming first into the Bridgerton family circle of Colin's engagement to Penelope. We analyze every family member's reaction and what we think it stems from based on their history with the couple and their own current circumstances. We will also include a brief moment for Lady Tilly's reaction as she is snuggled up next to our lover boy Benedict and turns him on to the ecstasy of finding out news from Whistledown herself.
Today will be a special podcast for me because it will be the last podcast that I ever record in this house after living in this house for the last 12 years on and off. My husband, 14 years.
Well, the next two. We're recording 2 today, so.
Yes, sorry, technically 2. But yes, we've lived in this house for 12 and 14 years respectively, and we move out in the next 3 to 4 days. So RIP to this house.
Not rest in peace. A new family's moving in, so
yes.
you don't want to put any bad juju there.
No. It's going to be really lovely. The family that are moving in here are really lovely. We just went and had a really nice brunch with the couple that were moving into their house. They're an elderly couple. He's a policeman, a police officer, sergeant person, and she used to work for Nurse Maud, which is a respite company. So both like the loveliest elderly couple in the world. So I'm really lucky that I've had really lovely people to deal with throughout this process.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool to me in house buying, like especially when you get to know the owner that had it before, and they really wanted a young family to take it on. And like, I'm such a connection person. I'm such a romantic.
Yes.
So, I find that lovely all the time that, when like I those buy and sell shows, always get me when they're like writing a letter about why they want the house and then they get chosen because of their letter. Like I love.
Well, that was us. We wrote a letter to them, and then we went from there. But yeah, it was a really lovely process, and we have the world's loveliest, and I'm more than happy to give free advertising here. Vinci Belanti is just the loveliest real estate agent in the world. Like, she hosted she organized the whole brunch yesterday. She made scones. She made gluten-free, dairy-free salmon and cream cheese crackers because both my mum and the lady selling are both celiac. So she made all the things for us, which was just so lovely.
Wow.
There's not many people that go
see that happening in America.
No.
Like, I have friends who are real estate agents that I don't think that would happen.
No. She's Italian though, so it's in the blood to feed people. Should we talk about feeding people now? Patty, what are you feeding yourself today?
Pod snacks.
Pod snacks. Pod snackity snacks. Pod.
Thought I'd go for a R&B vibe today. Okay,
no,
so
I'll throw in a little R&B like pod snackity snack, snackity snack, whack whack. I don't think I'm
going more for the slow jam.
I don't think I'm going to be the new Eminem.
Pod snacks. Anyways, I'm eating like a college girl these days. So all of my pod snacks today were only $1 each. I had some, I won't name names, but I had some sour gummy cubes that are filled with gel.
I'm gonna need some of those if you ever send over a package again.
Yeah,
Ooh,
another
okay.
package, but
I love
yeah.
myself a sour
Yummy.
candy with the squishy. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And especially when I get super stressed out, it is really a thing that when you have anxiety or neurodivergent and you get
Sour.
dysregulated, if you eat sour, it hits all of your dopamine
That's why I love pickles.
reflexes and stuff. Yeah. Oh, I when I'm stressed out, I drink pickle.
Yeah.
Like
When so
I love pickle juice.
we went through the McDonald's, the one near our house, one time when I was pregnant, and Steven's like, "Look, she's pregnant. Can you just give her like basically just a pickle burger?" And he goes, "Look, we'll give it to you for free if you drink the last of the pickle juice. We'll pour some in a little cup, and you drink the pickle juice, and we'll give you your order for free." And I did, and they were like, "How can you do that and look like you enjoyed it?" I'm like, "I am pregnant.
Because I did enjoy
Give
it. No,
me
I'm
the
not even,
pickles."
I've never been pregnant. I just seriously, I loved me a pickle bucket when we
Mm.
finished pickles off at I worked at back in my day, fast food, paying my dues. I worked at Burger King, Wendy's, and briefly McDonald's. And we'd get down to where there's hardly any pickles and there's so
Hmm.
much juice. And I would take cups back there and fill a cup, put a straw in it, and that's my drink while I'm working the sandwich board or whatever. Like I'm drinking pickle juice. Loved it.
My cousin's band is actually called Pickle Juice,
That's awesome.
and they are actually amazing. They're I don't know who else they're like. They're amazing. I love the band. They're the coolest fellas in the world.
So I was thinking this today, and there's only one person. Well, you might because you know the story, but there's only one person on the planet that's going to understand. I'm eating like a college girl who doesn't have a boyfriend, letting her use his food card. Which also happened in Patty's history. But all
Does not
everything's a
reflect
dollar.
real
So
life stories.
no, it very much reflects a real life story. We'll just say Patty's always been on the struggle bus at times in her life with abundance and lack, abundance and lack, abundance and lack. But so I have the gummies, and then this is actually one of my favorite foods, and it used to be a different company, but then it got branded by a restaurant. But
Hmm.
they are potato chips that are like they have the skin of the potato.
Okay.
Um,
Potato skins. Yeah.
yeah, and they cheddar and bacon, my favorite flavor.
That sounds like a good combo.
And it's so salty. Like I'm sitting here like I got a sour candy and now I have a salty crunchy snack. Like, can you tell
Yeah.
I'm stressed out? And
Whereas
I had a chocolate, a very smooth chocolate truffle candy bar. Already ate
nice. Whereas I am eating like a baby frequently, and it's all high fat.
I thought I
I
like my food today. I thought of you because everything I could say was Macca's because I had McDonald's. I started my day with McDonald's because I got out of my house to go
Macca's.
do my gig work. Yeah,
M
and
A
had some
like
cheeky
like not Maccers, Maccas. Macca's.
Macca's. Yeah, but
Macca's.
I
Yeah.
also came home and made me a box of mac and cheese. So I had that Macca's too. Macca's.
Macca's.
Everything was Mac today. Everything was Mac until my snacks. My day
Snack
has been
Mac.
Mac and snacks.
Mac and
Mac and
snacks.
snacks.
That sounds like we could do like a whole
Are you
podcast.
How
A
old are
whole
you,
pod.
Patty? I thought you said you were in your 40s. No, I'm 19 again.
Oh, we could do a whole podcast, Mac and Snacks, where we just spit the ball eating macaroni and cheese. Mac and
And
Snacks.
snacks,
That would
yeah.
be my heaven. I'm already chunky enough without doing that to myself.
Right. And that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, my whole day is carbs, but
I literally got Macca's for breakfast, as not a single listener is surprised by that scenario.
not surprised.
Not surprised.
We're twinsies today, though. So did I. I needed the iced coffee so bad.
Yes, I have my iced coffee right here. Okay, shall we jump into today's episode? We
We're jumping. We're not
officially,
making haste.
I feel like I want to jump into this one because it is not us that is making haste. It is Benedict. We must make
Benedict is
haste.
making haste.
Benedict makes haste in today's episode. So I can't do it in Eloise's voice because Benedict is, I don't think he's ever screeched a day in his life.
Uh,
Well, I mean, there was that time on the opium out the window.
yeah,
But that wasn't so
but
much
of
of a
course,
screech as a
it was self-indulgent.
Oh, he's such a clown. I'm so looking forward to the next season. Like, I feel like you know how this season was meant to be our rom-com era. And from
Hmm.
episode 5 onwards, like we really lose, I mean 6 onwards, we really lose that rom-com kind of style. But
Feel, yeah.
I feel like season 4 is going to be more rom-com for me because Benedict is way less angsty than Colin. Like they really swapped their personalities from the book. Benedict is so jovial and he does have that more melancholy side to him. He sort of reminds me a little bit of Robin Williams in the way that like he makes everyone so happy, but it's almost like that happiness comes at a cost to
Yeah.
his own soul. Like
He's making everyone else happy because he's not.
it sometimes reminds me, I don't know if anyone's ever seen these animes, but it comes from a lot of lore. But Sunshine Girl, people in Japanese culture, they had sunshine girls who would make the sunshine come, but it was like they were giving a piece of their own sunshine away until eventually they lost their souls, sort of a thing. And it kind of reminds me a little of that, like, and Robin Williams and that they like it's like the joy that they gave to others, it's like they took it from themselves to give to others. And Benedict sort of reminds me a little of that sometimes too. Like he
It
gives so
sounds to
much.
me like that's you just described a narcissist relationship.
Oh,
You end up giving your sunshine to
yeah.
them, and they're like a black hole, and they just suck it up. But that the way you described it, I almost was like, "That's a journal prompt. I need that."
Yeah. But Benedict, he's a special little sausage. I have quite the soft spot for him, but I really
But
hope that they don't.
I think they're going to make it a comedy, but it's going to be Shakespearean. I think
I
with
think
the
I think we're
masquerade
gonna see
ball
more of
being
his
like,
darkness.
yeah, I think with the masquerade ball being more being themed A Midsummer Night's Dream, I
Hmm.
think they're going to make it Shakespearean, and even in Shakespeare's comedies there's
Tragedy.
there's a little
Tragedy.
tragedy tinge because something
Tragedy.
isn't
I don't know the lyrics in between. It's hard to say.
well, there's a lot of
My dad loved the Bee Gees.
in a good comedy, there's a lot of tragedy, and there's some things that just if you don't laugh about them, you don't know what else to do,
Yeah.
right? And I think sometimes with Benedict, that's how it is. I think he is so silly and clownish and everything because if he stopped long enough to really think
Yeah.
and turn
Feel.
inward
Yeah.
and feel that he would feel like he's not felt the grief yet. He's not
Yes.
allowed himself to feel the grief yet. And I think we're going to see that with Sophie in season 4. I think, and I, at least I hope they play that out because they have created such this great, like nuanced, deeper meaning to Edmund dying in the show than
Yeah.
we had in the books, really, with all the kids having their own sort of trauma from it.
Well,
That
we got it with Eloise and Anthony in the books. Way, way, way
mm-hmm.
more than we got in the show. But the other siblings, not so much.
Right. And but I think that Anthony, we didn't get the whole like I'm afraid I'm going to die from a
Yeah.
bee.
Yeah.
He was afraid other people were in the
Mm.
show. But Daphne was just like in the books, like
Yes.
she deified her
She
father after he
idolized the
passed,
relationship.
and then
Yeah.
she idolized their relationship. So that's all she wanted. So she really struggled with what makes a real relationship because she wanted the fantasy of what her parents allowed her to see, you know? So, but they've played it so well in the show with how this death affected these different age groups of kids and, you know, the different differences from birth order and what their expectations are that
Yeah.
I think of all of the kids, Benedict is probably the one that has not faced his grief at all. And I hope they play into that in 4. I mean, technically there's no manifesting now. It's written, it's wrapped, it's done, but I hope it's there
Well,
somehow.
I mean, I don't know how to judge Genevieve's age in the show, but to me, she reads as like maybe
She's older.
40, 35 to 40-ish, 40.
I would say she's close to Tilly, like in her late 30s, is my
Yeah,
guess.
I'd guess like if I had to put a number on it, I would have said 38. So that's what I was kind of thinking of is that Benedict does definitely lean older women, and that can be kind of mummy issues, daddy issues, kind of a situation where you're wanting people. I think Benedict struggles with making decisions. Like even with the art school, it wasn't until Eloise prompted him to actually go for it and Anthony doing his stuff in the background that he was like, hey, I didn't actually make this decision for myself. And he's realizing now that he doesn't make any decisions for himself. Unlike Book Benedict, who actually lived on his own, he still lives at Mummy's house. He's still on the teat at
Hmm.
29 years old, 30,
Yeah.
29, 30.
He was 27 when the show started, 27,
So
28.
yeah,
Because
but
he'll be 30 in his season. At the
yes,
beginning of his season, he'll be 30.
yeah,
Anthony was 30 in his season, and that
yes.
plays out just like the books, pretty much.
Yeah, so he's about
Um,
29, 30.
yeah.
And he's still at an age where I don't feel like he's actually hit maturity because he's not taking any steps for himself. He's just kind of letting life happen to him. And I think that's why he does go towards someone like Lady Tilly and why we see those dance scenes of her leading the dance and why that's so impactful because Benedict is someone who likes to be led. And I think that when he meets Sophie for the first time, he's going to want to lead. And I mean, I don't know how our season 3, episode 5 analysis has just gone into a deep dive on Benedict and his issues, but it
We
just
were still
somehow.
kind of in the news. We were in the news part and the
Yes.
start. And
So because where we left off in the last episode was Benedict and Lady Tilly having a mid-morning romp, a morning delight in bed, and I was making the joke that this Lady Whistledown article, like we actively see them like in the throes of passion, like coming down off of the passion, and then the article, the society paper is just there, and I'm like, someone got like a real show delivering that newspaper that
yeah,
morning.
yeah. Tilly climbed off of the Bridgerton tree, and then she just happened to have
Tell me,
everything she
Patty,
needed right there on the bedside
what kind of
table.
tree is this? Is this a great oak? Is this what are the trees that shoot straight up trying to get to the sun? Like they go tall but not thick.
Redwoods.
Red the ones they do for the pine, they just try to plant them in a way that to shoot straight up. Is this a pine? Is it a bit scented, a bit allergy not friendly? Like what situation have we got going on here?
No, I find that funny too, that in this season where it's Penelope and Colin season and it's a little bit more of a chaste, reverent love
Hmm.
story. So there's not a lot of not till the end.
They needed
Which
the
I
sex
think
appeal
that,
somewhere.
well, not so much needed the sex appeal, but I just think it's funny that the biggest kink, like in terms of position, is, the woman on top. But I guess it plays out like that because Penelope, we see Tilly doing it earlier in the second half,
Hmm.
so that when Penn does it later, you realize she's come into her power because
That's yeah.
the strongest woman we see really like that owns her strength, that isn't backing down, because the queen has to do things for the people.
You know what it reminded me of? I don't know if you
Hmm.
ever watched Desperate Housewives, but I distinctly recall an episode where someone was mocking Tom and saying, I bet Lynette never lets you be on top. And as if like it was an emasculating thing for a woman to be on top.
Yeah. No, it's great for guys with bad backs.
And I mean, it's just great for girls. It hits the spot it needs to.
This isn't that kind of pod. Before it gets too deep.
I think Benedict surpassed that one.
Tilly was not unhappy about it.
Well, maybe she was because she did want to introduce a second tree.
No, the second tree was jealous.
She wanted the forest, okay.
The second tree was jealous and was like, you're going to give me a piece of that. That's like when you have you ever had, like, you've seen the movies and stuff where there's,
No, I've never seen the movies.
no, have you seen Hamilton? I mean, it's even in Hamilton
No.
where, because Angelica loves Alexander Hamilton, but she understands like she would not be able to marry him because she's the oldest daughter. She passes him off to her sister, who is in love with him. And she jokes all the time, like, if you truly love me as a sister, you'd share him, right? So I see Paul as that friend, like, oh, Lady Tilly, you're getting it good from somewhere. Why don't you share your secret? Literally.
Yeah. You are glowing.
Yeah. I want me a piece of that, whatever it is.
Okay, it's a maple tree. She's been using the maple on her skin to get a glow.
Well, you can tap a maple tree and share with as many people as you want.
Maple tree for sure. This metaphor is going way too dark. people are like, I'm gonna have to click the does this episode contain R18 content today?
But seriously, how many trees do you tap and you make something that can please that many people?
Oh,
Benedict is definitely maple.
mm,
So, anywho, yeah.
oh my ma-
So she,
you keep going.
so Tilly gets her robe and sits down. Benedict is ready for round two, which I find funny as well, because literally just the next day, Colin's claiming to need 5 or 10 minutes. And the whole time, like even from that scene, I've always been like, Colin, there's plenty you can do in that 5 or 10 minutes, and Penn will never know the difference. He's not at that level yet. Benedict is like, come on, I got 5 or 10 minutes. We'll find something to do. But she's reading Whistledown. And I wanted to point this out. I know we're talking about reactions, but I find it interesting because he tells Tilly, like, I thought you would find Whistledown pretty common, like that she would look down on Whistledown because she's just a gossip columnist, like how Eloise talks about Whistledown. But Tilly's like, there is nothing common about a woman who speaks her mind. Like she admires Whistledown,
yes,
and Benedict doesn't. And it dawned on me.
I thought in that moment that we were going to get Tilly and Eloise scenes because of that line and because of where Eloise had come from last season. Like it made me think, oh, okay, this is where it's going. Like it felt like oh, this is a little nugget of what's to come.
But I almost feel like with Benedict saying that, like most of the titled higher standing men in the ton have always looked down on Whistledown. Like you wouldn't catch them dead reading it, right? And Anthony's not really read it. Benedict definitely in this moment proved he'd never read it.
Yes.
And Colin's only ever read it that we've seen when it's been handed to him.
I think that Benedict has never read it because he does not like to he's someone who doesn't like to take opinions of others based on what others say and instead likes to treat people as how they treat him. Because look at how willing he is to just immediately take on the Mondriches because of, okay, this is how they treated Simon when he had no one else to rely on. They are good people. Like, so he is taking the opinion of someone else, but someone he respects, whereas he doesn't know who Lady Whistledown is to know whether or not he can respect their opinion. So he isn't going to take what she says at face value.
But I find it very interesting and kind of a double standard that, and we were just talking about it in the pod that dropped that I was listening to today for quality assurance purposes. And we talked about how, there are betting books from clubs and things where men bet on things like which rain rivulet was going to hit the window pane first at the bottom. So they have their own silly vices, but men are putting down Whistledown this whole time for being common and silly.
Because she's outing their secrets. And so they have to hate her because how dare someone say how it really is in the ton?
She doesn't really call out the men, not until season 3 and not until she has to prove who she is.
Only the baby.
Yeah.
Poor Mr.
Only the babies.
Mr. Lord Trowbridge.
Well, Trowbridge was just said for Colin. We don't know if that made it to Whistledown. Penn was not the kind to kick you when you were down or to out something like that. Like, if that's what Lady Trowbridge did to be able to keep the estate and keep the fortune and whatever, I think Penn would have admired that. It's very much something her mother would have done, right? But like the Lord that, his wife experienced so many cruelties every day. That's like the first call out of a Lord, like a real call out that she's done, but she did it to champion the wife.
Yes.
Which is becoming her new MO. Instead of women cutting each other down, as Whistledown has really cut down women for the last 2 seasons, she's now lifting them up.
I sort of wonder whether Lady Tilly is going to become a sort of Mrs. Robinson scenario. I don't know if that's the right person who I'm thinking of. Someone who
from The Graduate. Yeah.
I actually haven't seen it. I'm just going
but
I'm just going off of
the lore
kind of, but is it where she's like kind of even like she's the one who teaches him experience and whatnot, but then she becomes sort of a sounding board, and I do wonder whether they will still actually remain friends and we will still see Lady Tilly in season 4, and whether we will see that friendship also go over to Eloise where Lady Tilly will encourage Eloise to speak her mind, to go to these speaking things. I don't
Maybe.
know. Because
Well,
it
like
seems like,
a speaking engagement.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it seems like the kind of thing that Lady Tilly would have her finger, her finger in that kind of pie. And I wonder whether she's kind of the catalyst to get Eloise back onto that track where like the two actually greatly remind me of each other. And you know how sometimes when you're really fond, like you know how they say like we seek out what is familiar to us. I wonder
Mm-hmm.
whether his kind of feelings for Lady Tilly is because she does sort of remind him of the best qualities of Eloise in a non-incestuous way, but so many people have made like weird incestuous like
Jokes about those two. Yeah.
about Eloise and Benedict being like perfect for each other. I'm like, yeah, except for the fact that they are related. Like this isn't Tasmania. All my Aussies will get that joke. Sorry, Tasmania.
But and I kind of took this like
For you, it's what, Alabama, where all the incest jokes come from?
no, West Virginia and
West.
Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
West Virginia the most.
Where was the Hills Have Eyes filmed?
I don't know.
Because that was like the whole joke was a whole bunch of incestuous hillbillies that created that whole scenario.
Wow. I need to pretend like I'm affronted for America, but
You know it's based on a
every
real story though, right?
I know every American. Yeah, I do that. Um, I took that moment as progressive as Benedict seems to be, and as seeking of freedom and wanting to live outside the ton as he seems to be. I took that line as really showing just how limited his belief system is, because he did grow up in the ton as a man who could easily become the Lord.
Yes.
Anthony just has to pass, which is not anything we want or he wants, but it could still
Kate
happen.
just has to get a little bit hormonal on a bit of a rocky sea patch, and whoop, over you go. Hope you float.
Yeah, Lady Whistledown becomes on this in this society papers of Snapped. Whistledown writes the first Snapped.
Anthony Bridgerton had a rather rocky piece of marriage and sea, and unfortunately, he annoyed his pregnant wife and went
And
overboard.
Anthony Bridgerton walked into a greenhouse only to find out that it was a living bee exhibit.
She's like, "Welcome to my beehive."
Kate accidentally locked the door. Accidentally.
When Kate gets annoyed with Anthony, she commissions Delacroix to create a little bee costume for their baby.
No, it would be like little miniatures. Like, you know how in the book, Anthony made little
No,
miniatures
because it's
too,
so
right?
much funny to imagine this little kid crawling around in a bee costume chasing daddy, like, come here, let me sting you.
Well, real life story. So, my ex brother in law hates snakes. Like, he's super afraid of snakes, and
No, you would
everybody
not
knew it.
describe in Australia.
So his ex wife, my sister, and his children all the time would get like those, you know, those rubber snakes that look
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
And they would like put him on the steps when he's coming home or about to come out of the house, or they would put it like in his car. Like if he like ran back in the house real quick to get something and he left his car door open, they would put the snake down in the floorboard. They scared him all the time with snakes. And I could see Kate getting Anthony would have made miniatures, and she gets him to carve bee miniatures, and she like puts them all over. Like he wakes up and sees a bee on the night table and bedside table or whatever, and she serves him his tea and sets the cup down, and when he picks it up there's a bee on the saucer.
She seems like the kind that would pull pranks on her husband.
Oh yeah. Or like she's sitting there looking at him, you know, with those cat eyes over the heads of other people because she's so tall, and he's looking at her like he said something, he knows he's in trouble, and she's just like,
Payback is coming.
she's like, I doing that line across her throat, like, wait till later, buddy, wait till later.
Oh, Stephen just knows, like when he said something that I'm not happy about, I will never call him out in front of others, but like he knows the look on my face that there is going to be a discussion about this after our son is asleep.
Teacher Tosh is coming out on you.
Did I make him walk down to the petrol station the other day to get me a lemonade late at night? To be fair, he didn't do anything wrong. I just had a sore stomach. Sore stomach.
Bare minimum. bare minimum, the man is supposed to get you snacks.
Well, no,
And I have that on good authority.
it's 15-minute walk each way, and I thought he drove, and I was like, oh, he's taking a while, like maybe he's like looking at snacks at the petrol station or something, and he goes, no, I walked down, and I was like, oh, thanks, buddy. That's a bit more effort.
Or he was thinking, like, you want snacks? I'm going to take my time.
No, he offered, actually, he offered, and then I said no, and then he was like on the computer like watching something, and I'm like, can I reserve the right to change my mind because I changed my mind?
Yes, women always
I
get to
love how
change
we've
their mind.
turned this into a 20-minute discussion for two little note, two like one little bullet point.
We're both in that zone, people. Sorry. We both got life in and our brains are squirreled right now.
I do love when Lady Tilly, like, reads through and she realizes and she goes, well, you better take a look at
You
this.
might want to read, yeah.
He realizes that his baby bro is engaged and his mouth falls open, then turns into a sly smile. Like, he's like, I'm
Hmm.
surprised it happened so fast, but I'm not surprised, but I'm
See,
elated for him. That's how I read it.
I read it as the mouth open, shock. Almost, it didn't reach his eyes. So Benedict's not supposed to know, and he's got to make it look like he doesn't know for Anthony, right? So I feel like
Hmm.
he's practicing shock and surprise,
Shocking. Oh,
or
really?
maybe the whole
Me?
time he's kind of like, I didn't think it would happen. Like Colin has loved her forever, but I didn't think,
The reality
Colin would have
is, yeah.
Colin would have gone to him like, I don't know if she has feelings for me. I don't think
Well, it
she
could
may
have
not have feelings for me, but
it
I want to do this. And
it could have been, yeah, that like the like, oh, she said yes, like even though
yeah, like, oh my gosh, she
realistically,
did say yes. He did. He was right. He thought
like,
she might have
well,
feelings for him. Wow.
I
Yeah.
think I think Benedict knew that she mutually had feelings back, but it doesn't mean that he knew whether or not Portia would allow
Well,
it to happen. But the second that it's in Whistledown, it's done. It's done and dusted. So maybe his
I think, and I almost think that surprise, if it was genuine, was about the fact that it was in Whistledown, because he's
yes.
probably thinking Anthony can't do anything about this now. Because I have so much new insight in terms of the family
Yes.
circle reactions.
Yes.
But so he was surprised, but it was hard to tell if it was genuine or not. But I don't think it was surprise over the fact that he's reading that Colin and Penn got
No,
engaged.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
he knew. I think he's known. I mean, Colin got that key
He's
from
not
somewhere and
surprised that there
Anthony
was
wasn't
the
home.
he wasn't surprised that there was a thing between them and that it's
I think he
finally,
was surprised that it was in Whistledown
yeah.
before Anthony got home. And I know that,
Um,
like, yeah.
would you like to talk about people who aren't surprised to be reading it in Whistledown now? Our other favorite brothers' reactions.
No, we're doing a whole separate pod on the Featherington.
You reckon? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the
We're
the
going to
pod number two is the
okay,
Featheringtons find out. This is all Bridgertons.
we're gonna skip the Featheringtons. Sorry, Portia. I know that you like to be the center of attention, but we're going to skip you for today, and we're going to jump over to Lady Danbury's house and their reaction. So basically, this episode is going
They're
to
not
be
next. That was after Anthony and Kate came home.
no. So
So we're at Anthony.
no, I wrote these notes like as it came up on the screen, and it goes Benedict and Tilly's reaction. Featherington House, Lady Danbury, the Queen, KAnthony Carriage, and then KAnthony arriving at the house, and then Cowper House, and then Bridgerton Bros.
Okay, yeah. I jumped back because I had Bridgerton separate because we were doing Bridgerton and we were
Yes.
including Lady Tilly, and then I thought we'd include Lord Anderson and Lady
So
D and the
I
Queen.
wrote mine in complete order of how it played out.
Chronological.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we've been
chronological.
so busy. We've been so busy. We've been writing things that the other person hasn't been able to read yet. So we
Yeah.
both apparently have different ideas of how this is.
We'll figure it out on the fly. So Lady Danbury, in Lady Danbury's house, Lord Anderson is reading the Whistledown paper first and tells Agatha of the engagement. She seems immediately chuffed for them, and her brother asks if this engagement was her doing. I feel like this was sort of a nod to the book, as in because Lady Danbury was essentially the one who got Colin and Penn together in the book. Like she championed them the whole way. I remember the scenes where she's like, if only someone were to realize how smart she is, and he goes, I realize, like I see her,
Yeah.
and there was those kinds of scenes in the book that I loved between Lady Danbury, Penelope, and Colin. So
I
I feel
I
like
I
this,
don't know if it might have been a nod to the book, but I first of all I want to point out that Lord Anderson is the first titled man of what we assume is pretty good
yes,
standing to be openly reading Whistledown without it being handed to him by a female.
yes.
He's reading it all on his own and he gives the news to Lady Danbury from it.
Well, it sort of
So,
reminded me of Alice, who says, like, Benedict's like, oh, you read that nonsense too. And she's like, well, how can I know? It gives me like the complete rundown of what's happening in the ton and
yeah,
who's who.
it's an education. Yeah, yeah, she told Colin like it's definitely an education.
Oh, sorry, Colin. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think that this is important and this helped me like him. Like we've seen so much of her love story with Edmund in,
Yes.
flashbacks and her talking about Edmund that it was going to be hard for
Yeah.
any Bridgerton lover to really look at a new love interest because there's no love interest for her in the books. So as a book fan, this was going to be hard for me anyway.
Yeah.
But this scene, it really made me like him because it showed like he didn't have ego where I think most of the men, the reason they look down on Whistledown is because of their ego, like, oh, that's gossip. That's a
A
women thing. That's
fallacy. Yeah.
hens clucking together kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he's reading it like it's news and he's announcing it to his sister like it's news.
Yes.
Like he's read the newspaper. And I think that's such a big deal for him to be the first one because I think that was very pointed
Yeah.
for us to see the kind of person he is and the character he is because Violet, for all her truly following the ton and the way the ton works, she got a true love match, which allowed her that freedom to follow the society rules and things like that and the proper upbringing and her breeding and everything.
Her
But
breeding.
she
Did you say her breeding?
yes, because back then that's what they called it. You if you were able to maintain societal etiquette and you were able to like you presented your gentle breeding to the ton. That's
Yes.
the kind
Yeah.
of how it was
Yeah.
talked about. So
You come from good stock.
she was afforded that privilege because she found a love match in the person who was of good standing in the ton and a titled person.
Yeah.
But she is also like her husband loving her allowed her to have opinions and they were a team, they partnered together and it allowed her to raise her children much like his family was because he is the family of Billy and
Yes.
Poppy and all them or whatever. Well, Billy, it was Billy Edmund.
No.
It was
Poppy
the
is Poppy.
Rokesbys. Yeah, she
Poppy.
married a Rokesby. That's but it's
Yes.
I'm trying to think of the other siblings. There was a couple.
The brother died.
Yeah, there one brother.
And he was married to
Winnie.
Winifred.
Anyways, I can't remember. But anyway, there's other like their family was already pretty feminine and progressive
Yes.
feminist. And
Um,
so and she raised her daughters like
Georgie and
allowing their
Hugo. Hugo died.
Hugo. Yeah. So they raised their kids and allowed them to be who they were. And I think it's important that we see Lord Anderson look at Whistledown, not look down on it like everyone does. Anthony, Eloise, Daphne, Benedict, even now have all talked down about Whistledown. Colin, the only person who's excited about Whistledown is Hyacinth, and she's young and she's a child.
That's because she's the smartest.
True. But she's also the one who's considered the most silly, the most
Intuitive.
romantic. Yeah. So, and he tells Danbury when he says, Colin Bridgerton is betrothed to a Miss Penelope Featherington. And she goes, ha!
Yes.
And he assumes that means, I think he took that as, oh, did you have something to do with this? Like
Yeah.
that noise is like an affirmation, like
Yeah.
I knew it kind of thing. But I think she was going, check. That's another thing for me to think that Penelope is Whistledown because how in the world would Lady Whistledown have that news that fast?
Yes.
So and
exactly that because as soon as she says to her brother, no, but that she's rather pleased with the match. She then says, who needs fresh air when there is fresh gossip? Like, she's such an icon. The one-liners are just, who needs fresh air when there's fresh gossip? I love it. I love that she opens the paper to read it for herself, smiling away until she realizes the fatal flaw in the article. Lady Whistledown was so distracted by the engagement that she didn't even realize that she'd spelled her own doom. The scene here confirms to me that that Lady Danbury did know it was Penelope all along because she's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh crap, Penelope, you've really done it now. Like, you have spelled out your own name in this.
Well,
Like, she knows the
she
queen well
gave
enough to know that the queen is going to pick up on this immediately. And so she heads straight to
yeah,
the queen's.
because where's there a whistle down where the queen has not been mentioned
Yes.
at all?
Well, because I feel like
She
Whistledown was like a cat and mouse game for the queen all along. Like, it started as, this outlet for her, and then it became a game between her and the queen. Like, they were both women trapped in a life together that, like, in a household where they're not seen as people in their own houses. Like, the queen is seen as the queen, and we even refer to her as that all the time. She is not Charlotte, just as George is not just George. He is the king. Which is funny because we actually refer to him as George, but we've referred to her as the queen because the one who actually running the country. And so she's not seen as a person. And Penelope isn't seen as anything. She is a wallflower.
no.
She is unseen in her own house. She's unseen in the ton. She's unseen by family, friends. Like, I feel like even Eloise doesn't see her half the time. She's just, and I feel like it was only
I think
when I feel like it's only when she starts being friends with Cressida that she realizes it's Penelope wasn't interchangeable. Penelope was special, and I want Penelope. It's not that I just wanted anyone who would just sit and listen to me speak. I want Penelope. So I think even in her friendship with Penelope, I think she was unseen. Sorry, with Eloise.
yes.
Yeah.
I think though that where it appears to be a cat and mouse game, I don't think Penn realized she was playing any game. I think she thought she was safe because she was mentioning the queen. Because we saw the reaction of Daphne and Violet when Daphne was named the diamond in
Hmm.
Whistledown in the first season, episode 1, right?
Yeah.
And then season 3, episode 1, Penelope is present when the new debutantes are reading their names in Whistledown and they're getting excited about it. Like Miss Berrigan was so excited her name got mentioned. And I think
Hmm.
it's important to note that the resident mean girl of the year, Miss Livingston, was not mentioned. Penn knows how important it is to a
Yes.
person to see their own name in print.
Yes.
And she mentions the queen, I think, so many times because she's thinking, well, the queen will love to see her name and that people are thinking of her, even if some of it is negative, like the, muddled head of her husband.
Her husband. Yeah.
But in her excitement and in her emotional turmoil with Eloise, she forgets to mention the queen, and that's the faux pas. The
Yes.
queen doesn't care if she says something nice or if she says something derogatory. She just likes seeing her name in it.
She just
And
conceded.
her name wasn't mentioned. And she's like,
How
how
dare you?
dare she?
I'm the queen.
Right. Because I mean, are we going to talk about the queen in this one, or are we going to
Yes.
segue
Yep.
that
No,
into
no.
something else?
Queens.
Okay. So the queen is pacing like she's acting like she's worried of what Whistledown is going to say, but she's so almost it's a frenetic, like almost excitement too, that she knows she's going to be mentioned because her choice again lost, right?
Yes.
And she's back and forth like, oh my gosh, only to find out she's not mentioned at all. And the look on her face, because I was looking at her costuming, which I want to talk about, and the look on her face when when he reads it and he looks at it and like, oh my gosh, you're not mentioned, kind of thing. And he
Hmm.
says, and that is it. The look
And
on
that
her face
is
is complete
what do you
shock
mean that is
and
it?
denial. There's like a look of denial, like, I wasn't mentioned. Like, she cannot
Can
believe
you
it.
could you read it again? Like, are you
And then
sure?
it takes her a minute to realize, like, oh, there's something going on. And she forgot. It's not that I wasn't mentioned because she's dissing me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She just forgot. She's got stuff going on and she forgot. Because who could forget the queen? She's got to have something serious going on.
Yeah.
So that's how she decided she's so vulnerable. But I want to talk about her whole costume because they dress up the queen for the season, for the couple of the season. And this is straight up Bridgerton homage. It's Bridgerton colors. It's the blue, the Wedgwood. But it also has the peacock eyes on the dress because she's about to unleash her 500 eyes.
Let me see your peacock. Your peacock.
But I wanted to point out, like, her necklace is little half sunflower with the jewel as the center.
Mm-hmm.
And they're done in such a way where they look like they're coming out of her neck. So like they're hiding and peeking out. And then her hair is shaped like a heart. And it's designed like a beehive, I think. It is a beehive. It's very tall. But the ringlets are designed where they come up and over and there's like a bunch of holes. See where it's like, it's almost like they're little tubes like bees could, that's how they would get in the beehive.
Yeah.
And the little decorations in her hair are like little gold daisies with pearl centers. And the actual real part, the flower it looks like hyacinth flowers. It's that same color blue, but they're like clustered. So it's hard to tell what individual flower they are, but it's very similar to the flowers at the wedding, the blue flowers. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's hyacinth. And there's little sunflowers, pearls with a pearl center. But those are also peeking out of her hair like they're hiding, but they're semi-exposed. And I think this is all symbolism that the queen is about to unearth who Whistledown is. She's coming to a realization that she can really find out who she is. So she puts all lies out in the ton. And, Penelope or Lady Whistledown is going to be uncovered. She's peeking out.
Yes.
Almost like she's been using the queen as protection all this time by mentioning her name. And now that she didn't, she signed her own death kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just thought it was probably one of my favorite queen costumes from this scene. And going into the scene with Danbury where she says, like, put out the bounty. But because it's so symbolic, like they really no stone unturned when it comes to detail in this costume.
Yeah. No, they did
as
they
much
did
as
it.
the headpiece with the swans in it, and people are like, oh, that's definitely Colin and Penn because it's swans, right? Yeah. I think this one really says, like, how later she goes, I knew it must be a Bridgerton. Like, I think she's already kind of getting the idea that it's a Bridgerton because Colin's engagement gets announced and she doesn't get mentioned.
Very quickly, yes.
Yeah.
She knows that obviously there was something big that happened in their household, that there was a distraction, and she put the bare minimum into getting it out on time.
Yeah, so I think the dress itself is her kind of coming to the realization it might be a Bridgerton at that point. Not really for sure in her brain, but her spidey sense is tingling. And then all of the decorations point to like they're half sunflowers. They really do look like they're peeking out of her neck.
This started during Daphne's season. Lady Whistledown started, so she's thinking, oh well, Daphne was on the ton, so the Bridgertons were kind of all around. It makes sense if it's someone from that household because Daphne was the diamond. She could have easily been feeding information to anyone in that household.
Yeah. And I
think she probably still did somewhat suspect it was Eloise, and that Eloise could have just written that about herself to kind of throw off the trail.
Well, so I was just thinking that too, especially like I was about to go complete my big fat Greek wedding, like turning everything Greek.
Yes. It's all Greek to me.
Well, no, the line that her mom says about the man is the head, but the wife is the neck, the woman is the neck. And with the sunflowers being around her neck the way they are, I think in that moment, she kind of felt like, I've been letting Lady Whistledown lead me. I've been letting her turn my head, and that's got to change.
Yeah.
Because the necklace is at the base of her neck and it's sticking out like it would be what makes her head. Like, so it's symbolic of like, oh, I've been letting Whistledown turn my head, and I've enjoyed seeing my name in print, and I've let her go this long, and this has got to stop. She's got so much power over me, and I don't like it, Yeah.
Yeah, no, completely agree with that. Analyses. So this is when, like, we basically see the scene go straight from Lady Danbury at her own house to Lady Danbury going straight to the Queen. So I think she knew, and she was trying to head off the Queen before shit hit the fan.
Oh yeah, she was trying to do damage control.
Yeah.
And that pieces into, like, when we get into the next pod about Portia's reaction, I think we see a lot of reactions are because it's crafty Colin. It comes out before, and Penn, like we learned, Penn's just as crafty.
Yes.
That there's a lot of people that find out in a way that you can tell is uncomfortable for them because they're used to performing damage control
Yeah.
for themselves or for others that they love. And this is a moment that no damage control is allowed.
Yes. Yeah. It's just survival at this point.
Okay, do we get into the good stuff now?
We can.
Okay, we have a very tame carriage ride.
Well,
Anthony is obviously not as creative as Colin. Anthony is a lot of not Colin, and I have so many things from this carriage ride on that tell me this. Okay, so I'm going to say this first because Colin is my favorite, and I want to see in season 4 where he gets to lord it over Anthony just a little bit, and I think it starts here. So the carriage, we see the carriage, and we see a very kind of relieved. I can't. It's a little bit mix of relief to be home, but a little bit tired Kate. Like she does
no,
this.
I remember watching the scene, and so because first-hand experience, I want to steal the scene from you for a second. I looked at Kate's face and immediately knew that girl is going through the thick of morning sickness. Anyone who went through like really nasty
Why would
bouts
she
of
be breathing that nasty air that from the street? The streets of London
no.
were disgusting back then.
Yeah, I know, but she probably wasn't thinking that through. Like the look that she actually, I think Simone Ashley did a beautiful, beautiful job because the second that I saw her breathing that way, that breathing is I am trying not to vomit.
Not
I
to
am trying
puke,
to
yeah.
control my, because motion sick, I got motion sickness. Those carriages were bumpy. So no matter what the air smelled like
Yeah.
outside, like you are breathing, breathing, breathing in a way. And I immediately knew that she was pregnant before they said anything because of the stance, the body language, that breathing in, and that irritation that comes with knowing you are the man that did this to me. You caused this. So I have a little bit of hatred towards you for the next 9 months, buddy.
Well, and I kind of took it like like she's kind of tired, and then when she looks and sees him staring at her, and
She's
she's
like,
like,
shut up.
I hope you are thinking pure thoughts because we're about to be in our family home.
Hmm.
I took that as like they've been working
Busy.
really hard to create an heir,
They've been
right?
busy.
Busy, busy, busy. And I think it's funny that Anthony had to try really, 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 really hard to make an heir, and Colin did it first try.
Yeah.
First try, one and done. It's done. That baby's bacon. And so that whole scene, as I rewatched it, I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, I just want a line because Colin and his one-liners. I just want a
Hmm.
line like, how long take you to create that air?
20 tries, you
Anthony,
say? Hmm.
you were on a 6-month honeymoon, and then you guys left for a second honeymoon for like 2 months.
I think his
But
brother would
honestly, if you
actually
think about the
punch him.
timing, because they left like pretty quickly after Danbury's ball, right? They were at
Hmm.
Danbury's ball, then they were like, hey, let's maybe get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
And then we had the maypole ceremony in episode 3, and then we had to go through a potential little bitty courtship. So, like a couple more weeks. So, we know we're at a good 2 months out. So, back then, women didn't know they were pregnant until they probably were about to miss their second cycle of their courses, because the first one Kate would have written up to, oh, this is all new to my body, like traveling. I'm not going to say anything yet. I'm not going to say anything yet. And then the second month rolls around and she's like, wait a minute. Kind of like how Marina, by the time Marina's ripping at her sheets, like, and getting mad about it, she's probably a couple months along, right?
Yeah.
So when they're coming home and it's been about 2 months later, honestly, the romp on the desk is probably what they went on that second honeymoon and did all that work, but it was already done.
Was already implanted.
But yeah, so, and I love having this moment, this carriage scene, although it was uneventful.
Well, Kate is looking at him like, you better be thinking like innocent
You better
thoughts.
get 10 feet away.
And like she's sitting there like suffering and miserable, and he looks so proud of himself. Like, yeah, I did that. I did that. Enjoy it, wife.
I think we need that moment, and I'm going to get into etiquette business here because a lot of people think, like, there's been so much talk on the internet about Anthony being mad and Anthony being protective of Penn. He was happy when Hyacinth is first saying it. He's
Mm.
got a smile
Yeah.
on his face. It is Kate that is shocked because she realizes before Anthony does that they cannot make their announcement now
Yes. But like going
in
back to,
etiquette you don't steal someone's thunder.
yes.
When somebody has an engagement or a wedding, there is an etiquette of so much time must pass before you
Yes.
can announce any good news, or it's considered you're selfish, you're self-centered, you're
Yeah.
not foreshadowing, but you're overshadowing them.
Yes, the only
So
news that was
Kate,
allowed to be shared in those kinds of times to override someone else's was to alert to a death notice and to go into mourning. That
yeah,
was the only
bad
exception.
news. Yeah.
Yes. But like back in the carriage ride, you can tell that like because we went from the previous season of season two where we never really got many happy scenes with them outside of that final dance, the dance scene with all the family, and then the of course, the Paul Mall match. But this is the first time we actually see Anthony as like in his married man era, and he is just absolutely smitten with his wife and cannot get enough of her. Like he's looking at her with hunger, which is when Kate's like, "Honeymoon is over. We are returning you to your family. Keep it in your pants, sir."
We're returning you to your family. Like, I
Yes.
don't even know if I want to go in. I'm so sick.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
But Anthony is so excited to tell his family. I love that he is so proud, and I don't even feel like this is like you know how much pressure there was on the heir of the family to create the next heir. Like I don't even feel
mhm.
like it was that. It was not a Simon's dad like I'm a proud man kind of a situation. It's a I fell in love and this is what it created. Like I'm so proud of us. Yay! Like I want to shout it from the rooftops or the carriage tops. Like I think it's just the cutest thing
Well,
ever
and
to
I
see him
think
go
it's
from such a staunch man to being so excitable.
and I think it is so important, and nobody, like, I don't really think I've seen too many people talk about it because in this time, most men were like, I mean, even George loved Charlotte.
Yes.
Still,
You're
they
meant to be demure.
when she had a son first, they were like, "Oh my heir! I've got my son! I've got my son! I've got
Yeah.
the heir!" Whatever. Even George did it, no matter how much he loved Charlotte, but it was
Yeah.
their common goal.
Yes.
In this moment, I feel like I'm shouting because I'm so excited about it. But in this moment, in this moment, Anthony does not say heir. He says the mother of my child.
Yes, yes.
And
He's
he's
proud of his
so
wife.
excited. He is proud of them together. They are creating a life together. They're creating something that is the both of them.
Yeah,
And that's more important to him than producing an heir to carry on the title,
yeah,
producing
yeah,
that 10th
100%.
generation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it just shows why the Bridgerton,
Where his
I think it
priorities
shows
lie.
why the Bridgertons have such a longevity because their focus is not being that long-standing family. They find love matches, and I mean they might not have all been love matches in the history, but they find people, they create these families, their family, their sense of family is so profound for the
Yeah,
time
yeah,
that's more important, is preserving the family connection, the family. And even though they do talk about standing a lot in season one and especially in season two when they're seeing some scandal, like real scandal, Daphne and Simon weren't really real scandal.
no.
But like what Anthony put the family through was serious. That
Yeah.
was a failed. I mean, that all went all the way up to the altar, which honestly, that whole what a barb deleted scripting scenes and whatever, like
Yes.
him being concerned that she doesn't want to announce because of Edwina, kind of falls into that because everything was so public and it went awry
Yeah.
that him saying he's so proud of what they've done that he wants all of Mayfair to hear would kind of be very scary considering what they went through the year
Yeah.
before. So that tracks. I can see
I think
that.
it was like I'm not afraid to say that I love you anymore. I'm not afraid to like I don't
Right.
want to hide this. I don't want to hide in the shadows being like what we did was scandalous and shameful and now we must
Yeah.
like keep to the shadows. Like it was kind of an fu to the ton of this is the woman
Yeah.
I love and this is what we made and you're going to get on board because I'm going to shove this down your throats with
See,
joy.
This scene would have been a great scene to put the ABCDEFU song
Yes.
because he's saying
Yes. Yeah,
ABCDEFU
if
to
you
the
to
whole
the
ton.
ton. Yeah.
And I
Uh,
still think like
so,
that girl is on fire or something would have been better for Penn coming down the stairs.
yeah.
Like or
Yeah. 100,
firework or
100%.
something.
Yeah.
Like put AB if you had to have the song, put it here.
Mm.
That would be great because he really was thumbing his nose at everyone. Like
Or,
I
you know what would have been even funnier to put in? Like,
hmm,
well, actually, no, this doesn't work, but I love the song, and a song where, a girl or whatever doesn't see the value in a guy, like, except it's reverse, like, except Penelope is the skater boy. He
oh
was a
skater boy,
boy,
yeah.
she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious?
That would have been it. That would have been a great song for like season one while he's with Marina and
Hmm.
she's like, yeah.
He was a punk.
Or
She,
like
she writes
or
Lady
if they play it
Whistledown.
over like if they see Marina before Marina's accident or whatever happens, if they play Skater Boy. Like, yeah, now he's meeting me after the show, not you anymore. Me,
Yeah.
Fusion. Previous episode of the Ladies Bridgerton, when we talked about the engagement announcement scene at night, I just remind every of the reactions that we had in the drawing room originally, because now they've had a chance to do over. So remember that Violet was shocked but ecstatic.
Hmm.
Hyacinth was surprised, but all enthusiastic hugs for Penn. Francesca sees Penn, not surprised at all, and rushes to congratulate her brother. She knew
Hmm.
since season one. Gregory, and this made me chuckle. Gregory, disappointment at his obviously favorite brother getting hitched before they can be rakes together. I think he saw Benedict and Anthony on their own level, and Colin was always kind of outside too. So he
Yeah.
figured when I grow up, Colin and I'll be going around like
Hmm.
Anthony and Benedict. And
Hmm.
that's why he was upset because we couldn't really, it didn't quite fit, but we thought it was foreshadowing. So that's my
Yeah.
new take is that he's like, Colin was going to be he and Colin were going to be
He was
like
going to be
Anthony
he
and
was going to be
Benedict.
my Antony.
Yeah. And then obviously Eloise she was a bag of mixed feelings. And she wasn't even at home for Anthony's homecoming, which they knew he was coming. They just didn't quite know when, as we know from
Do
Hyacinth
you
saying
feel
finally you
like
arrived.
she bowed out to Cowper House because she did not want to be there for it?
Yes, I think she was not prepared to pretend to be happy about it.
Yeah. And I think that she knows
And
that Kate
Anthony
is,
wouldn't miss her anyway.
and I think that Kate is so insightful that she would pick up between the two girls that there's something wrong. And I think that Eloise knows an insightful queen when
Well,
she knows one, you know. So she's like, I'm going to
and
avoid that scenario.
here's a second
I think she wanted Penelope to have her moment.
Here's a second take too, though, because Benedict wasn't home. I think they knew they were coming. I think there was a letter that said, "Okay, we're coming home." But with travel the way it was back then, nobody knew exactly what day.
No, no.
Benedict wasn't home. I think Eloise got up and she went to go talk to her friend early before calling hour, which would have been 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I think she wasn't even thinking that Anthony was going to be home and there was going to be this huge announcement. Now she could have been avoiding breakfast,
Yes.
right? She didn't
Yes.
she didn't want to play riddles with the Sphinx of her mother, trying to get her on the side of this is a good thing.
Yeah.
So she bowed out from breakfast, I think, more than Anthony's homecoming because they wouldn't have known exactly when they were coming, just that they were, which is why I think the whole night before was rushed the way it was because Colin wanted it announced to the family before Anthony got home. So he'd have, what's the word I'm looking for? Backup. Like he'd have people saying, no, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. Right. Because everybody's so proud of him. And I've got such the little keynote in a minute when we get there about Benedict and his pride in Hyacinth.
We also talk about how Eloise is a external processor. So when we talk about the Myers-Briggs personality test, E and I don't mean whether you're an extroverted person or an introverted. It has to do with how you process your feelings. And Eloise always has to say her feelings out loud to others and muse them out loud in order for her to process. And she's been really lonely because she hasn't had that sounding board. And even though she kind of has had that sounding board in Cressida, she can't be completely honest about it. But now she has something that she can verbally externally process with Cressida because now it's no longer about the Whistledown thing. Now she can be mad at Penelope for something that she can say out loud. And so she is like, she's betrayed, so I think that Eloise is like, I cannot sit in the drawing room and listen to my brother yarn on about how good this is when he doesn't know the whole story. And I can't sit there and be quiet when I need to process. I do not have the ability to be quiet. So I'm going to go elsewhere so he can have his moment.
But this also shows me how immature Eloise is in friendship, because as much as she won't admit, the reason she chose Cressida is because she already knew Cressida did not like Penelope.
Yes.
This scene shows it, because all through the first half, she has been attacking Cressida, thinking Cressida's still attacking Pen,
Yeah.
and trying to get Cressida to come around to being a kinder person.
Mm-hmm.
Only the minute she's mad at, upset about the situation, mad at Penelope again, she's
Mm-hmm.
right in her drawing room bitching.
Yeah.
And obviously Cressida's going through her own thing, and she doesn't even notice because she just wants to complain, and she likes to externally process to people who do not challenge. Her whole problem with Cressida this whole time is that when she says something, Cressida will challenge her. Cressida stands up for herself where Penelope never did.
Well, and you can see Cressida, like, and I know we've skipped a scene here. We will go back. It's just sometimes it plays out how it plays out. Cressida, you can see, is sitting there in the corner, quiet, reserved,
Crestfallen.
exactly the same as what we had seen Penelope be in previous seasons. And she is waiting, like, if I just stay still and quiet long enough, surely Eloise is going to notice that something is wrong. And then when Eloise does realize that something is wrong, she kind of makes a joke about it and then continues back to her thing after saying, if I had known about your thing, I would not have gone on about it for so long, and then continues on about it and make light of what Cressida is going through, when actually what Cressida is going through is Eloise's worst nightmare. So you would think that she would be a little bit more sympathetic to it, of
but I
coming
think
up
in
with
this
plans of how to
moment,
get her out of it.
I think in this moment, this is a test of their friendship. And I think Cressida
He
is at
fails.
a turn. She's at a turning point where she realizes that Eloise is not that friend that you have deep conversations with and get good connection with.
Yeah.
She wants those moments of sitting in the muck and the mire. My example I always give is from the Never Ending Story,
Mm-hmm.
the swamp of sadness. Like when you're in the swamp of sadness, you kind of want somebody to get in there with you and help you come out of it. Like,
Yeah.
help, like you might not need them to pull and prod at you. That just might get you more stuck. But sitting there trying to talk you out of it and whatever, because I think that, but them try not to get as depressed as you, because that's the whole reason that Artax went under. Atreyu was starting to get his own depression, and then he realized Artax was done. But for me, it's always the swamp of sadness. And I want to be able to sit with my friends in that time with them and be there if they need my help to get out.
Yeah.
Or be that person that cheers them on as they work them to get themselves out.
Yeah.
But Eloise doesn't want to get in the mud unless like her mud isn't even mud. It's just drama.
Yeah.
And chaos. I don't think she even deals with her own swamp of sadness. And she just doesn't want to deal with somebody going through something that's really hard. She doesn't. It's almost like an emotional avoidance.
She's
kind
a very,
of like we talk about Benedict having.
She's a very
like,
inherently selfish person,
mm-hmm.
and she doesn't mean to be. That's the thing. It's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not intentional. It's not cruel per se. It's just she's just so deep in her own crap that she can't see anyone else's.
Well, and to go back so that we can segue back into the coming home, this is her trait that's very much like Anthony, because what I find extremely funny is that Anthony appears so surprised that life has gone on without him.
Yes.
While he's not been home. Like before they announced the engagement and they're talking about this news and whistled out, and everybody's trying to get Colin to say it. Like Anthony's looking around befuddled. Like, I came home. I was getting this great welcome home. Like, what happened?
It's finally about me. Like, oh, I left And everyone hated me, and everyone was like, oh, that grumpy bigger brother, he's always telling us what to do. And I've come back, and everyone's excited to see me, and I'm the king of the family. This is great. And then, oh, you stole my thunder.
Like, why is Colin always like, he's such a bee in my bonnet?
Wow.
Well, but I think it's hilarious. Like the look on his face is like, this is no longer going how I thought it was supposed to. This isn't going
Yes.
like it was going, like I thought it through in my head at all.
Well, I mean,
And it's
to finish off the Cressida part, so I can wrap that one up, is I think Cressida thinks the same thing. This is not going how I thought it was. I thought I was going to be the diamond of the season. I lost that label out to Daphne, and then I lost it out to Edwina, and I lost the prince. I lost the chance of any Bridgertons, and I thought I was going to be the most sought after, and now it's turning to me having to get married to an aged man, and this is what my life is. And you can see it, like she's trying to put on this brave face because she knows that even Eloise isn't going to sit there and coddle her feelings, and her mum has taught her that no one's ever going to sit there and coddle your feelings. No one cares about what you're going through. So I really feel bad that she gets Eloise as a friend because she wasn't the friend that she needed. She needed Penelope as a friend. Not that she deserved Penelope as a friend, but you know what I mean. Like she wasn't
But
the
that's
right
the
friend
thing.
for her.
And as you're saying it, it's making me process it. Like, I think that's Cressida's arc. Her character arc is she's that person. She's the mean girl who has to learn that all of her consequences and outcomes are because of
Yes.
her character.
Yes.
And yes, she lost out a prince. A prince what was making eyes at her only until Daphne came in the room looking dazzling. But it wasn't because Daphne came in looking dazzling. Daphne just had a better personality, and she already
Had a
had been out in
family's
the
love.
ton.
I feel like it was
And
I feel like it was the family element that is what made the prince so infatuated with her, was not that she comes from a good family, but they actually like each other and they're friends, and they show love and they don't conform to the worst parts of society.
Cressida cannot go 5 minutes without talking down to someone, and he
Yes.
spent more than 5 minutes.
Yes.
And I think that Daphne was refreshing in that, like, yes, she barbed on the sidelines with Simon. They gossiped together, and that was supposed to segue into us seeing Colin and Penn do the same thing and go, oh, for those
Yes.
of people who didn't read books and didn't know that that was a foreshadowing. And then in season two, when she was getting Jack interested in her, if she would have actually got, like, she doesn't even realize she dodged a bullet there, but
Yeah.
that one was legit a mechanism, a machination that did thwart her, and she could have some actual feelings of deserving retribution.
Hmm.
But then season three, she's watching Penn, who in her mind stole Colin Bridgerton from her in the first season two,
Hmm.
like getting some major lord looking at her. Like she's losing this lord out to Penelope Featherington of all people, and then Penelope ends, because think about this moment,
And then
okay?
Penelope
She
doesn't
just
even
got
want him.
no, it's not even that. She just got told she's gonna get engaged off to an aged friend, and
Hmm.
this is how she receives the news that little Penelope Featherington that she has tried to thwart as competition actually got with Colin Bridgerton, who she lost out to her in season one for a dance.
Yeah.
Like that is why she's so dejected, and Eloise just can't even see it. And Cressida can't bring it up because if Cressida says he made eyes at her 2 years ago, Eloise would be so
They've been
angry at
making
her.
googly eyes for years. How did you not see that?
Right. She knows she would be disrespecting or making Eloise feel disrespected if she called out her intelligence like that. Like, how did you not see this?
Yes.
So Cressida stays quiet, and she realizes in that moment that Eloise is a surface, like she's that girl that you
Yeah.
bitch with, kind of
Yeah.
like her mother and Portia.
Yeah.
but she's not somebody that you really get into the thick of things.
No.
Eloise isn't ready for that yet.
No, yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, and I think that this scene is the first time it actually dawns on Eloise as well that like she makes barbs about it at first, and then when the girl, when Cressida kind of says, "Oh, it'll be okay though. I'll get to spend all his money and be high and mighty in the ton, and it'll
Like
all be
Lady
fine."
Danbury,
Like
yeah.
she's sitting there trying to like look for the silver linings in these very, very stormy clouds, as we saw with this episode. Like the storm clouds, I think reference what's happening with Cressida as well. I think plays into so many
Mm-hmm.
things. And she's trying to find the silver lining. And I think it's the moment where Eloise actually realizes, hey, I can't actually make a joke about this. Like this is dark. This is the dark side of the ton where we can be married off as if we are livestock. And I think she realizes how
Oh,
lucky that she
and
is to have
Eloise,
Anthony, who hasn't just married her off, done like he would did with Daphne. And hey, you can marry Lord Berbrook. Like you are not my problem anymore. Like that could have been a scenario for her.
her last face in that scene, I took it like Eloise was at that point where she was officially like, I can't handle this.
Hmm.
This is so bad. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's an ADHD thing too, that there's those times where, because sometimes we're really in our feels, like we're
Yeah.
ENFJs. So we're really in our feels. We understand feelings, but there's just times like you cannot empathize no matter how hard you tried. You have not
Yeah.
been through what this person's going through.
Yeah.
You want to comfort them, you want to be there for them, but it's so awkward. Like you almost have a secondhand embarrassment kind of feeling,
Yeah.
like my whole body just feels like I've got to get out of here. I don't know how to be a good friend right now because I cannot imagine what they're going through.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to relate, and I'm afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing in that moment. That's the first time we've ever seen Eloise be afraid she might say the wrong thing. She looked kind of awkward and scared, like I can't do this. I don't have the spoons for this right now. I don't have the capacity for this right now, and I feel terrible. Like I don't know what to say. She didn't know what to say. She was rendered speechless for the first time in her life.
First time for sure. Yes, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I think she's just I think it was a harsh check, like a reality check for
Mm-hmm.
her of this is what the
For the
ton
both
is
of them,
actually
really.
like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This could be your reality. You are very lucky to not be living this reality, but it could be your
Yeah.
reality, you know? And I think that scares her. I think she's like really quite scared of what's happening with to Cressida and realizing, hey, that could happen to me.
If she'd have had a different family, I think
Yes.
she's realized her privilege
Yes.
in that moment.
The
Like I
rare
have a
moment for
family
her.
that would I never would have contemplated this as a possibility because it never would have happened.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah, she I think she's finally realizing, yeah, her privilege, exactly that. Let's go back to the Kate and Anthony arriving home, and we'll wrap up the ton. We'll wrap up the ton. The ton is done. We'll wrap up this pod with the arrival home. So we talked about being greeted by a joyous. We had Violet, Hyacinth, Colin, Francesca, and Gregory. And Anthony's surprised by the warm greeting that he receives on his arrival home. I think he's so used to the ire that the family, like from his family, for the role he had been trying to play. And I do say trying because
Mm-hmm.
I think he's actually more like Colin than what he thinks. I think that Anthony was trying to be what the Ton expected him to be, trying to be what he thought his family expected him to be, and the
His
role didn't
family, yeah.
fit. Yeah. And it was never ever what they expected him to be. Like you saw him trying so hard with Daphne in season one,
Mm-hmm.
trying to balance his love of Sienna, trying to balance being the man of the family, but being a brother, but being a father, but being a partner to his mum non-sexually, like as in like running the household. Like it was just confusing and just too much for him, and he failed. And it wasn't a failure, it was just that he failed in it wasn't him. And I remember
Yeah.
one
Well, and
time.
he had separated himself from the family kind of emotionally because he had so much. It was almost like he was trying to run the family like he was running the estate
Yes.
in a way, like without connection, without emotion, because he was afraid of losing people he loved because he lost his father.
Yes.
And so I think that he has felt this isolation and this separation from the family. Like I
Yeah.
find it interesting that Anthony reconnects with his family in the same season that we find out that Francesca has felt isolated
Disconnected.
within her
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
So I think those two play off each other. And honestly, because my notes were about the connections when they came in. Like Violet beelines immediately for Kate first. She loves Kate as a daughter-in-law.
Yes. Yes.
You can see her warmth and see their closeness in this. And Anthony doesn't say anything about chopped liver because Hyacinth flies at him.
Yes.
And she says, finally you arrived, which causes him to be like, I would go on long journeys forever if I got to come home like this. Because he's so
Well,
not used to it. Because he's been separated from them, like
I mean,
not just physically in
yeah.
the distance,
I
but
mean, you know
emotionally
the
as well.
love that you have for someone. Like, I remember one of my friends was like, "You're the biggest softie in the world," because two of my friends had moved back down from Wellington, and I went to high school with the boy, and we were meeting up. Our sons are only about a year apart in age, and like I remember talking to his now wife and like kind of like crying a little bit, being like, I'm just so happy that he met you, like such a wonderful woman. Like he's such a genuine and kind person, and I'm so happy that he found someone as wonderful and kind and brings out the best qualities of him. And she's like, you're such a softie. And I'm like, I love my friends so much and I love my family so much that when they find the people that bring out the best of them, allow them to be their best selves and like just enrich their life so much, it brings me so much joy. And I feel like this is kind of the moment where Violet is with Kate, and even the whole family is like, we loved Anthony because he is our brother, but he was a little bit insufferable, and you've
Mm-hmm.
given us back our brother. Not only do we gain you as a sister, but we get our brother back
Yeah.
because he's actually happy and he's loving and we can enjoy being in his company rather than him just lording over us anymore. We are finally a family again. And I feel like that's kind of where the family is at with Kate. They love Kate as a person, but they also love how she has softened their brother slash son.
Well, some of them, because
Yeah.
Colin and Anthony greet. Yes, they're smiling, but it's not like exuberant. And Colin gets like a shoulder squeeze.
Yeah.
There's no real embrace. And Gregory
Oh, is
doesn't
that
move
is
in.
that so, Daisy?
Yeah, Gregory doesn't even move in for a hug at all from
Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter
Anthony.
patter, pit.
Yeah, she probably has to go.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's.
She would not go before.
Okay.
But Gregory didn't move in for a hug at all. Now, part of that could be because of the arm in the sling, but I also think that there's still kind of this separation amongst the bros,
Yes.
the two younger
I think it's because
bros.
they both have their own stuff that they need to get out, and they're kind of like, how is it? Like
Yeah.
each of them not knowing the other has news, and they're like, how's this going to play out? I love
But
how,
and Colin actually hugs Kate. Like he did
yes.
not hug Anthony, but he comes in to hug Kate.
Well, apparently back then, men just were not supposed to hug. Men you shook hands with, only women were allowed to hug. Because, like, I remember talking to my cousin about this not that long ago. Because obviously, Greek culture, not all that different. Like, I mean, it's different, obviously, but like, my cousins are of a much older generation. I mean, he's 85, and he said, like,
I'm just
'cause
gonna say, keep talking to keep going. I'm gonna run and let her out. So
yes. Like I was talking to one of my cousins about the fact that he's like, oh, like, your dad's a really big hugger. And he goes, I came from the generation where it was seen as a little bit gay to hug. Like men were not supposed to hug. And he's like, I have to override that in my head because yes, this is my family and I love them. He's like, but it does not come naturally to me. So I think there's definitely in that generation where I mean we see with how much Lord Granville has to hide and how much Reynolds and Brimsley have to hide, like anything that could be seen as even slightly that way, even if it was with family members, it was just frowned upon, which is silly. But that's kind
well,
of
they strip. That's the patriarchy in general,
yeah,
stripping emotions because they see emotions as feminine.
gay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love how Benedict scampers in the room, and he is just
He's full
unapologetically
on a
himself.
running.
He
Yeah.
scampers into that room is the way. Like clearly just arriving home. He greets Anthony first, then goes straight to Colin to confirm the gossip from Whistledown. Hyacinth is just my favorite character ever because
Hold
she
on.
can't even wait for Colin to get.
Yeah, slow down. You're rushing. Anthony runs in. He does embrace.
No, no, no.
He or
Benedict runs
Benedict
in.
runs in. He embraces Anthony. They hug.
Yeah.
And he
That's what I was
wasn't
saying. Like, and that's what kind of made me bring up the gay commentary is Benedict does not care about the rules of the town anymore. Like he is. I mean, not that he's had that experience with Paul yet, but I feel like these were the
Mhm.
things that like are meant to lead us to believe that he
I
is
think
different.
the
He just
writing, yeah,
loves love.
the writing used patriarchal kind of to make it seem like Benedict would go down that way, down that path.
Yeah, like he was just love is love, and I don't care where that love comes from. Like, this is my family and I love them, and I don't care
But
what
I
you perceive me to be.
But I also think Anthony, who has always kept himself standoffish, the only reason he hugged Benedict was to have that quiet aside, like, for you.
Yes.
And he's just like, I was taking a stroll.
Ah.
I'm not telling you shit. Right? I ain't telling you
I
nothing, Anthony.
Anthony knows exactly, like he doesn't
Yeah.
know the person, but he knows the act.
Mm-hmm.
But
Probably knows the smell.
I love that.
He
Yeah,
didn't bathe much.
I love that Hyacinth is just, she cannot wait for Colin to get the news out. And she announces that Paul and her are engaged. She's like,
Okay.
what is it? She says like, you take too long or something.
Yeah, you delay,
You
so
delay, so
I shall.
I must. Yeah.
So, and here's the best part. Like Benedict, remember back in episode 3 when Colin's all weird in the drawing room having breakfast after his dream,
Hmm.
and Hyacinth brings up,
Yes.
Penelope's so fortunate to have you for a friend. And Benedict looks up at her and kind of winks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So in this moment, Hyacinth is like, Benedict is like, so I read something curious and whistled out, and
Yes.
Colin's got that face like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And Hyacinth is like,
Yes, 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 yes,
you
yes.
you must tell Anthony, brother. And Benedict, his smile is so wide. I mean, it's cracking his face. He's got his hands on it, and he does this. He's looking at Hyacinth like he is so proud of her. Like, yeah, shit starter.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like
Yes.
the man who wants to stir the pot and watch it
stir
spin.
it, stir it. But he's like, let someone else stir it so I don't get in shit for it.
he sees Hyacinth doing it, and he's like, I'm so proud of you right now.
He sees Hyacinth doing it and he goes, here's a bigger spoon.
Yeah, he's loving it.
Stir.
And then she goes, you must tell him, brother. And Benedict's his whole head looks at Colin and whips over to Anthony like, yeah, tell him. Like, he can't wait for the show. He can't wait for Anthony's face. And then
Kate's so excited until she turns, like, she's so happy for them, like instantly and genuinely happy until she turns and sees Anthony's expression and she's like, come now. Like, this moment isn't yours.
I was looking at Cap That, and when they first show Hyacinth and she starts to say it, they pan to Kate and Anthony's smiling, like as the news is actually being said.
And then he realizes,
he's smiling.
And then he realizes the thunder.
Kate looks scared. She realized first Auntie's gonna be mad.
Yeah.
He doesn't get to make the announcement. And she had already swiped his hand away because she kind of had a feeling it was gonna be news where they couldn't. But then she knew for sure. Well, and her eyes are like this big, and she's like, crap.
Well,
and then he turns, and that look on his face, and everybody in internet Bridgerverse has assumed that he's mad at Colin for Pen.
No, like, it's don't steal my thunder.
Yeah, because etiquette says he's now not allowed to say anything for several
Poseidon,
days.
Not you. You can't take my thunder. I'm the god.
Because Colin's news got out before his. And I think that's in writing, it's very important. Like, I think it's great that they had Hyacinth do it, that she's so excited she has to blurt it out. Yeah. Because if Colin would have said it, we would still have antagonistic brothers. But because Hyacinth did, we get to see in the study later that Anthony really is happy.
Yes.
Because he's even playing off like where he goes, explain.
Yes.
But he's trying mad. No, he's pretending. But he's not mad at all.
Yes. So this is where Angie decides to pull both brothers aside and take them into his office for a catch-up and possible scolding. Gregory was upset at the snob and says, I am one of the brothers as well. And cheeky Hyacinth replies, I think of you as the family pet, which is one of my favorite lines of the entire season. And I
wish Newton would have been in that frame and been looking all like, well, what am I?
Newton was very MIA this season. I love that Kate is looking around the family and just loving the way that they're interacting together, because now she gets to be part of it too. Like, she does not look at all put out that she does not get to share her news, and instead is just kind of happy to be with a family that is as jovial and silly and like elated for each other's happiness. Like, and I think, and we do have some new information from the What Above podcast who went and did the screenwriters
The Writers Guild
writers
library. Yeah.
guild thingy, and got all. I would actually love to see the full rundown of this to see like how the reactions of how they were supposed to act it out. Be quite interesting because this goes along with the scene where it shows that I don't know where this part takes place. You may
In the
remember
bedroom.
in the
In
bedroom.
the bedroom where he's like, is there a reason you're not wanting to tell our
Share the
news?
news. Yes.
Yeah. It's when
Um,
they're finally in private. He
yes.
expresses his insecurity of why wouldn't you
And I don't actually
announce.
think we ever do get a true kind of understanding as to why she doesn't want to announce, because you can see the reluctance like the whole way through the season until she finally announces it that she was scared to tell the family. And I don't really know
Well,
why.
I think they played it off. To me, they played it off in that bedroom scene that she is so concerned about being a good viscountess because of what happened with Edwina that she wants to follow etiquette
She's
perfectly.
afraid to bring scandal in the family.
And this wouldn't even be scandalous; it would be within the family. But
Yes.
there is a standing etiquette that you do not announce good news at either
Yes.
an engagement announcement or a wedding. You just don't. Like
Yes.
everybody knows that person, or I mean, Reddit has whole series of, am I the asshole, where I announced my pregnancy 2 or 3 days after my sister-in-law's wedding and she's mad at me. Am I the asshole? And people are
Mm.
like, no, the wedding was 3 days ago, that sort of thing. But there was a set time frame. It used to be something like a fortnight or whatever, that if somebody announced an engagement and you had good news, you had to wait.
Well, and I see it happen, yeah, all the time on those threads of people, brides, the husbands never care. It's the brides
No, it's the
who,
bride.
they spend 2, 3 years planning this wedding and bringing everyone together. So they think that the entire time that all the family, because most commonly people have to fly in or drive in long distances for weddings and whatnot. And as such, they usually make it a family reunion at the same time. And so they're usually there for, let's say, a weekend up to a few weeks at most. And so people were like, oh, well, while the family's all together, I'll do this. But there has been a huge, great, this is my moment. I mean, I don't think I'd want someone announcing an engagement at my wedding. It depends on who it is. But like the
Okay.
day after, go for it. I don't care. Happy, like,
I'm a romantic at heart. If I got married and my
depends on
wedding,
who it is.
and not an engagement announcement, I think it would be the penultimate romantic moment of my life, and it wouldn't even be
Oh,
happening to me
I've got my phone up.
if somebody was so inspired at my wedding to then propose like at the reception to their person. I would love that, actually.
Right, I'm gonna have to wrap this one. Okay. Apparently, no, he's left. Okay, he just dropped off a suitcase.
Okay.
I don't know.
But I would find that very romantic. Now, if they were announcing it, if they said, "Oh yeah, we got engaged a couple weeks ago," I'm telling everybody, that's
Yeah,
different. But
yeah.
if they actually got down on one knee and proposed at my wedding,
Yes, I'd.
you know,
I mean, to
in
be
a spur of the moment
if
thing,
it's someone
I
who
would
I'm like,
love that.
you kind of like a unknown kind of guest. It depends on who it is. Really depends for me.
Not for the engagement. Any other kind of announcement, like if you're announcing you're pregnant, don't be the plus one of,
Yeah,
my cousin Angie kind of
yeah,
thing. Like
yeah.
I would, if it was like my niece or nephew, like if my niece Samantha was like, you seem so happy and I just want to make you even more happy and I'm going to whisper
Hmm.
in your ear that I'm pregnant again, I would be like ecstatic. But then it was like she only told me, she didn't, and I'd be like, yeah, tell everybody that's great, whatever. But it would definitely be matter who the person for
Mm.
that kind of announcement. But if somebody was like so moved by my love story that they just had to propose at my wedding, I would love that.
Like on the day of my granddad's funeral, my cousin who's like this is my not Kaylin, this is my other girl cousin who I grew up and like sisters as well. We spent our whole childhood together. She told myself and my cousin Caitlin, we were driving together from the funeral to the wake. And she told us, she announced her pregnancy to us. And she's like, look, I know you need good news. And she was flying out straight from the wake. And
I
she's
think
like,
a funeral is different than a wedding.
and for me, it was sad, of course, but this was a celebration of my granddad's life as well. And we were just absolutely going through it. So to have good news was just beautiful. So I think to me, it's situational. I mean, it's still even a contested thing nowadays as to when and how, when, how you announce pregnancies and engagements and weddings and all
Well,
the
and I
things.
still like we had a whole conversation off record
Hmm.
about why they chose when they chose to announce that I'm
Yes.
going to save for that
Yes.
pod
Yep.
episode because they break etiquette there. Like here she is so concerned with etiquette because of how everything played out in the ton
Hmm.
that I think that that deleted scene I got the gist of that
Yeah.
from because then she gets up like, nope, can't fool around with you now. I've got an engagement party to plan and
Yeah.
I've got to be the best viscountess of every viscountess that ever viscountess, right? So she had a pressure on her that she had to look perfect to the ton because of what happened before.
Yes.
And she still has this like insecurity herself that I understood that and gathered it from context. But I think having that in the deleted scene, the deleted scripting will help a lot of people who,
Yeah.
some people don't gather all the nuance and
Yeah.
context from a show.
But
Usually they're the ones that are like, you look too much into
it's so funny that so much of the so much of the detail that we got in those scripting are things that we picked already.
I don't know. I
And
always
let me
like
just
send you
say,
guys.
Kay, I am feeling
I
bitter because she said Patty's the mastermind who noticed all these things, and I'm like, what am I, chopped liver? Do I not exist?
and I called it out when I was like, we were right. Like when
Yes,
I posted those,
I
I was like,
appreciate
we
it.
were right. Yeah.
I'm not chopped liver. I don't have that much
Mm-mm.
iron. I'm deficient. Okay.
And I don't like liver, so you're not chopped liver. No. But
I'm a passion fruit. A little bit tangy, a little bit weird, but sweet.
yeah. And I
That's
and
the
I
right
just
man
want to
sweet.
point out, like, for anybody out there who thought that Anthony was mad at Colin for getting engaged without his permission or whatever, it really was just about the etiquette of announcement because he had his hand on her belly. He was
Mhm.
ready to
He
tell
was
everyone.
ready. He was
And when
shouting it from the
Hyacinth's
rooftops.
when it became obvious that Colin had news, she in that moment swiped his hand away and was like,
I'm
"Wait a minute,
actually
what news?"
I'm a little bit surprised that no one saw, because obviously the Bridgerton carriage is notable, but did they take a hired hack or was it the Bridgerton carriage? I didn't notice.
It was a Bridgerton carriage. It was navy blue and
So I'm actually surprised that no one in the ton was kind of whispering. I heard Anthony Bridgerton shouting from the carriage tops, his, exciting news. That is the kind
yeah,
of thing
well,
that would have gone about the ton.
and he just said I would shout it for all of Mayfair to hear. Nobody heard the actual
Yeah,
news. They just
yeah,
heard him yell
that's
that.
true. All right, we need to wrap this up. So, for today's gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue in 2 minutes' time on next week's episode.
Well, maybe longer than 2 minutes. I need a small break.
Uh, from me, if you have anything in
No.
particular you would like us to cover or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you're enjoying our podcast, please remember to click follow, like, leave a comment wherever you are listening.
And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad, stressed out, but having fun.
Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.